A breast cancer veteran. That's how a mom here in Columbus describes herself after years of battling and surviving a devastating disease. And she wants other women to know, especially women of color, that she is working every day to break down barriers and make a difference that spans the generations.
For
Asha and Danny Miller, there is joy in the simple things, like a walk in the neighborhood. Because these steps forward are only possible after taking so many devastating steps back.
Just loving the person that I am today is, it's such a gift.
6 years ago, this healthy, happy, fit mom of 2 young children found a tiny lump under her arm, one that would eventually lead to a diagnosis: breast cancer.
And at that moment, I went numb.
And then she would learn it had spread
to my lymph nodes, and it was also against my chest wall, calcified, and it was just devastating.
Stage 3B. In the time that followed, there were many painful surgeries, including a double mastectomy, chemotherapy treatments, and radiation that caused third-degree burns.
The mental part of cancer is something that is not talked about enough. It's this bone-weary exhaustion. It's body, mind, and spirit.
Just when she thought it was over, her reconstructive implants were recalled and had to be removed.
That was the most devastating, because they said, we're gonna have to take those out and you're gonna have to heal flat. And not flat closure, but like a deflated chest.
It was hard. It was harrowing. It was heartbreaking.
For me, it was how do I learn to love myself when I look so different?
That question sparked a new journey into advocacy, hoping her own battle will inspire, empower, and save lives.
Black women are dying 40% more from breast cancer than our white counterparts, even though we are diagnosed at the same rate.
Alarming numbers and a reality about disparities in care and awareness that she's fighting to change.
It was very terrifying to go through it and not see anybody that looked like me.
In her determination to reach other women, she found the faith she needed in self-love and the grace of gratitude.
You're the kind of person that brings color to where you walk. You spark light in the gloom and vibrance in the black and white. Your color doesn't fade with splendor, doesn't bow to complacency and mediocrity. You shine like you were born to. You revel in the light, and you are beautiful. That confidence you wear is gorgeous. Keep walking around this world, and we will see a trail of your fantastic colors as you go.
But the power and the impact of words truly hit home when she looked at her daughter.
What I say to myself, she's also going to say to herself. What I say out loud, she might think to herself. How do I say that I'm not beautiful with a flat chest when she's standing there at 7 years old as a flat, with a flat chest?
And so the pages of her storyline turned into a family affair.
Now my daughter identifies as a previvor, which means that you have a genetic predisposition to get cancer.
Being a previvor, instead of being scared and worried about being it, you're very empowered, I feel like.
Together, mom, daughter, and Asha's now teenage son use social media to spread the word and share their mission.
Some of them are kind of like funny and geeky, and some of them are very meaningful.
Like Feel It on the First, a monthly reminder about the importance of self-exams. Their message so authentic and powerful, a national campaign came calling. Asha was asked to pose for Victoria's Secret as the company's first Black breastless model.
For me, representation matters, and I'll say that over and over. It really does in every aspect.
The pictures, the videos, the celebrations big and small.
I did it right!
Are just some of the many incredible moments in a life where she takes nothing for granted.
It isn't over. It's never over. It's a lifelong diagnosis. And yet we're here and we're thriving in the midst of it. And I think that for me is the most beautiful thing.
Thriving is certainly the word. Asha, I am so happy to tell you, is finally feeling healthy and strong. She's celebrating a full year of no surgeries, no further complications. And if you'd like more information and to follow her on her incredible journey, you can find Asha on her Instagram account, which is called Dear Cancer, It's Me. And so we want to dig a little deeper now into this issue. You heard the startling statistic from Asha. Black women are at least 41% more likely to die from breast cancer than white women. And here to help us break down that disparity and understand it is Dr. Dionisia Quiroga. She specializes in breast cancer at the OSU Comprehensive Cancer Center. Thank you for being with us.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Sure. And you know, you hear Asha, this is her mission to ring the alarm on this disparity. Why is this happening? Why are Black women at such a higher risk?
Yes, so this is a huge problem. And I think most people don't recognize this because unfortunately a lot of in the past, like Ms. Miller had mentioned, a lot of the people you're seeing maybe in the media and some of our other materials are often white women. It's not often focused on Black women or other women of color. But we do know from the statistics that African American women are more likely to be diagnosed with more aggressive types of breast cancer. They're more likely to be diagnosed also further along, so further stages. And we know especially with breast cancer, early detection is so important. The earlier that we can find the breast cancer, the more likely that we can treat it and it's never going to come back.
Well, certainly, and one of the things that we can talk about in Asha's story specifically is it is such a wake-up call. You know, she found this tiny lump under her arm, which she really thought was nothing. Mm-hmm. But that voice inside of her said to be proactive, let me just get this checked out. She got a first opinion and there still wasn't concern. It's when she went and got a second opinion and pursued it that they told her she'd actually had stage 3B breast cancer. And if she had not checked out that lump that so many of us would have probably ignored, who knows where she would be today.
Yes.
And so symptoms, small and big, are important here. And what can you tell us about some of those?
Yes. As women, we know our bodies best. So I always tell patients they are always going to be their strongest advocates and they know when things are different. So, you know, noticing if there's small lumps or some of the more the different breast cancer symptoms that people might not recognize, such as changes in the color or texture of our breast skin, dimpling, things like that are also really important early signs that we often see that something has changed and you should bring up to a doctor or ask about breast imaging.
So how do we reach the women out there, specifically that Asha is making it a mission to reach, women of color who might have fears, anxiety about getting care or getting mammograms, and really send that message to them? As a medical expert, what can you say to women out there, someone might be watching right now, to get them in for a checkup?
Yeah, so a woman of average risk should be beginning to get their breast cancer screenings, mammograms at age 40. That's our current recommendation. But if you have family history of breast cancer, or if you are known to carry a certain genetic mutation, you may be eligible for earlier breast cancer screenings. And we have resources both at Ohio State and other local breast centers where we can see you if you're at higher risk for those conditions. I also say, you know, it's not unreasonable to have fears about, you know, the medical system and cancer screenings, and to please bring those questions and concerns up with your doctors as well.
Well, sometimes I think too, maybe women have anxiety about the exam, but also just anxiety, they don't want to know, that fear of actually being diagnosed. But I'm sure the message from you is it is so much better, as you mentioned, to know very early on than to let something go.
Yes, absolutely. The earlier we find it, the easier the treatments are and the more likely that we are to cure it and for it to never come back. I also want to mention too, we've talked a lot about women, but men are also at risk for breast cancer. So if men notice some of these changes, 1 in 100 cases of breast cancer is actually diagnosed in men, and they should also let their doctors know.
That's another important message to share. Thank you so much here for helping us understand some of this and get the message out. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right.